I am Beverly Broom. Thanks so much for choosing us. In our first story, Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Ayariga, is asking the Attorney General to quicken the prosecution of Chief Executive Officer of defunct gold dealership firm Menzgold Ghana Limited, Nana Apia Mensah. He says the AG has not demonstrated seriousness in dealing with a matter that ought to be treated with urgency and seriousness. He's been speaking on news analysis program Newsfile.
You have a constitution that says that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice shall be responsible for initiation and prosecution of all criminal matters, and that all criminal prosecutions must be done in his name. And this is an Attorney General that is taking 3 years, not 1 month, not 2 months, not 1 year, not 2, 3 years to decipher what are the appropriate charges to prefer against Nana Mensah.
No, there were 61 charges already.
But they just dropped and changed to 39.
That's right.
Is that not it?
Yes.
So it means that it has taken them 3 years to figure out that the 61 were wrong and that it is this 39 that should be the proper charges. And it's taken them 3 years to figure out that they had filed the matter in the wrong court and that it is the High Court, that is the proper court. What other evidence of incompetence?
Because you add money laundering charges. Money laundering charges will have to go to the High Court rather than the Circuit Court. So that's
and it's taken 3 years. It's taken 3 years for the Attorney General of Ghana and the Minister of Justice to figure out that for a money laundering charge, you should go to the High Court, or that this fact, which clearly shows money laundering from the very beginning, it is only after 3 years that the Attorney General of Ghana is getting to know that he should add money laundering charges, and therefore he should go to the High Court.
Prosecutors amend charges all the time, but what's the new?
And it is taking 3 years, 3 good years. We are talking about the fate of 16,000 Ghanaians.
Almost 40 adjournments.
Whose tax money is what is used to buy the luxury car that the Attorney General is driving in, and the comfortable office, and his luxurious travel expenses at the cost of the taxpayer. And these taxpayers have been defrauded by NAM1, and it's taken 3 years for this very competent Attorney General.
These are taxpayers who were warned and they ignored the warnings, even at times when the state intervened. They were rather with the man against the state.
That is even worse, because the state sat by, the Bank of Ghana, the police, the security services, the Attorney General, everybody sat idly by and allowed this man to defraud citizens. Even if the people giving the money were participating in the conduct, they were also committing a criminal offense, and the state had a responsibility to stop them.
Well, Ayariga is also berating the Office of the Special Prosecutor for not complying fully with its act in applying to the court for the confirmation of the seizure and freezing of the accounts of the former Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Cecilia Abinadapa.
I have read the press release of the Special Prosecutor. And I want to say that we are not small children. Read his statement. What does he say in paragraph 3? While the Office of Special Prosecutor respects the court's decision, it disagrees with the decision of the court. First, the OSP believes that the court's computation of the time limitation is, with respect, erroneous. That's actually the most critical paragraph in this statement. The OSP searched 3 private residences associated with Ms. Dapa over the course of 2 weeks. The searches and discovery were ongoing during that period. There is little doubt that the OSP filed its application within the statutory window once the search and discovery window is considered. You see, I am not a fan of Cecilia Dapa. I don't think what she has done is right. We're not talking about how many properties you searched, whether you said 3, 4, 5, whatever. Whether it took you 1 year to do your searches, it doesn't matter. The specific date that you seize this particular item, that is the date we are supposed to start counting from. After 7 days, if you haven't gone to court to confirm it, you have breached section 32 of your own act. So he shouldn't try to throw dust into our eyes. If you are negligent, admit that you are negligent. If you haven't performed your task as expected of you, admit that you have not performed your task. The judges are there to protect the rights of everybody, just as to also ensure that you exercise your powers properly. So did the special prosecutor run to court within 7 days of seizing the property or not? That's the crucial question that has to be answered by the special prosecutor. If he did not, why didn't he? In the face of 32(2), which clearly says that for him to continue to hold that asset, he must go and have it confirmed by a court. If he didn't go, he can't come and be throwing dust into our eyes.
Moving on, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Ayariga, says despite the hospitality sector's continued vibrancy post-COVID, challenges persist in the area. He affirms that the GTA is implementing stringent monitoring measures to ensure strict adherence to regulation and standards to boost the subsector. Here's more in this report.
2 out of every 10 jobs in the country are created by the hospitality subsector, making it the 3rd largest contributor to Ghana's total productivity, as measured by the gross domestic product (GDP) in 2022. This ranking follows cocoa, oil, and gas. However, speaking to journalists at the 8th anniversary celebration of the Tank Palace Hotel in Accra, the CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Ayariga, revealed that low hotel occupancy and regulatory inconsistencies remain a challenge.
Hotel occupancy is still a bit low for most operators, and that is a challenge. There are a lot of regulatory bodies that deal with the sector, and that is also a bit of a challenge. So if you look at a typical hotel, you have the Tourism Authority, EPA, Food and Drugs Authority, GAMRO, so many other agencies, the assemblies, everybody coming for their pound of flesh. And sometimes that creates a little bit of challenge for operators. It's not just about the number of levies and fees that they pay, but also the fact that so many people are coming to them to regulate. And so that is also an issue. And so we've been working with them. We've been working with the Association of Hotels, the Ghana Hotels Association, the Progressive Hotels Association, on how we can address some of these challenges. One of them is how we can harmonize the regulatory environment for them.
Mr. Ayariga further states that to enhance standards in the sector, the GTA is implementing various measures, including mystery shopping.
A combination of things that we are trying to do to improve standards. Just about 2 years ago, we launched the service charter, which seeks to regulate the sector properly. We do service assessment. Unfortunately, because we announce our service assessment periods, when a hotel knows that the service assessors are coming, they all try to make sure that they put up a clean face and a good face for the period. And so what we are planning to do is to do a lot more mystery shopping, get our inspectors to go unannounced to some of these facilities, and also to educate them. And so education is one of the things that we are also doing. Currently, we have embarked on some training programs. Currently, we're running one for the front desk people on how they can really be hospitable when they are meeting guests. We're also doing some language training on Francophone.
Meanwhile, the general manager of Tank Palace Hotel, Sajid Khan, expresses optimism about the sector's future, despite the challenges posed by COVID-19.
These last 8 years were bad because of almost 3 years to 5 years were affected because of COVID. But we are seeing a very bright future for the tourism and for hospitality industry in coming 8 years. Despite all these issues, what challenges we are facing, at least within 8 years, you will see 8 new branded hotels will be coming in. And I see this competition very positively.
Miss Tourism Ghana 2022 Cristobal Inshura Ejipon urges graduates to explore opportunities in the sector as a means to address the high levels of graduate unemployment in the country.
Tourism has a lot of aspects. So it's not just about traveling. You have like sports, we have food, we have beads, we have a whole lot. So it's just ideal that the youth, people who are unemployed, you have your degrees, you find hand skills, you look at these different aspects when it comes to tourism. If you think you are very good at cooking, do something when it comes to food tourism. If you think you have the hospitality, venture into hoteliers and serving people. So it's just how you have to look at your own skills and then look at the opportunities, little opportunities around. That is where I think your money is going to come from.
As the third quarter of this year draws to a close, it is expected that more co-working spaces will be provided for enhanced and comforting experience for guests. Carlos Calonis reports for JoyNews.
Now, as part of efforts aimed at increasing awareness creation on the relevance of breastfeeding, particularly amongst rural women, Olam Food Ingredients has held an educative program for breastfeeding mothers in the Pamdu in the Kintampo South District of the Bono East region. General Manager of the OFI, Hisifa Mankwa, says this is part of the group's corporate social responsibility, which is to improve the health status of farmers in the market areas.
Exclusive breastfeeding has been recognized as an important public health tool for the primary prevention of child morbidity and mortality, with the World Health Organization having recommended exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months after delivery, followed by the introduction of complementary foods and continued breastfeeding for 24 months or more. Even so, however, efforts to promote exclusive breastfeeding have achieved limited successes, with women in rural areas less likely to initiate breastfeeding compared to those in the urban settings. This, according to Ayariga Gifty, a senior community health nurse at the Pamdu Chips compound in the Kintampo South District, is largely because rural mothers are in a hurry to visit their farms few weeks after delivery.
The challenges we face here is that the mothers are not able to practice exclusive breastfeeding because most of them, this place is a farming, this community is a farming community. So mostly they are not able to do it because around 3 months, 2 weeks, when the child is up to 3 weeks, they will leave the child with the caretaker and go to the farm. So by so doing, they are not able to practice exclusive breastfeeding.
She says the situation has negative consequences on the health of the children.
Most of them, I said as early as 3 weeks, they've started feeding. They will even prepare cocoa and put beside the caretaker. When I'm going to the farm and when you come, take care of my child for me. Then they will be feeding the child with that cocoa. Sometimes it's not even the way they even prepare it. It's not hygienic. So at the end of the day, the child comes with running, diarrhea. Some of them also come very malnourished. Their weight is very low.
To help change the status quo as well as increase awareness on the need to practice exclusive breastfeeding, Olam Food Ingredients, as part of its corporate social responsibilities, is today holding an educative program to inform breastfeeding mothers in Pamdu about the relevance of exclusive breastfeeding. Yusuf Amankwa is the general manager of Olam Food Ingredients.
As a corporate responsible company, we have realized that we need to celebrate this day with our women within the cashew growing areas, and that is why we are here today to support this awareness creation. And what we believe in, that we need to give back to communities that we also engage in. So Pamdu, Misidan are one of the communities that we have worked with over the years, and we believe that the future of our business will be dependent also on the strength and the health of the people that will be engaging. So you feed well, you become healthy, you can be a good farmer, and we can come and buy from you in this area.
Admonished breastfeeding mothers to strictly adhere to exclusive breastfeeding as recommended by health experts as a means of staying healthy.
I think my advice is that let's not listen to what people would portray that, oh, if you feed with breast, it is not the best. You can give water, you can give food, you can give. That should not be. Let us listen to what the experts tell us. We have all come through that, and we need to hold that very esteem so that at least the future of our children will be healthier.
Queen Mother of Pamdu Nanaya Sewa on her part noted that the decision to stay away from exclusive breastfeeding is largely contributing to the increase in breast cancers amongst women. Most of these breast-related sicknesses are a result of women's failure to practice exclusive breastfeeding. So our young women need to take a critical look at this. That's my advice to them. Olam Food Ingredients also donated medical equipment including weighing scales, thermometer guns, gloves, syringes, fridges, amongst others, to the Pamdu Chips compound to support healthcare delivery in the area. Alan Sabit, Joy News, Pamdu.
Welcome back. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotions Agency, Dr. Ifua Asari, wants stakeholders to work towards increasing the export of Ghanaian products and strictly practice import substitution. This, she believes, is the surest way to significantly grow the country's economy and develop local enterprises. She was speaking at the launch of the Volta Region edition of the Women Icon Regional Exhibition in Ho.
About 50 women-owned businesses exhibited products ranging from farm produce, beverages, clothing, artifacts, among others, during the Volta edition of the Women Icon Regional Exhibition. The expo was instituted by the Ghana Export Promotion Agency to provide a platform for women-owned businesses to showcase their products and services. It would also allow the agency to identify potential exporters who would be supported to participate in international exhibitions to promote Ghanaian products. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Agency, Dr. Ifua Asari, stressed the need to promote the export of Ghanaian products to grow the economy.
The more we expand and the more we grow and look for more products to add value to and export, the more money we get in. And when we get this money in by way of foreign exchange, for us, how to save Ghana is through export of our products and import substitution, so that we don't import chicken when we can rear chicken here. We don't import chicken that is 20 years old before it gets to Ghana. We don't import all kinds of food that has preservatives that is giving us the white man's disease. We should plant our food. We should add value to it before we eat. We should love what we have. We should wear our own stuff. We should create our own businesses and encourage these businesses to grow so that we can bring more money into Ghana.
The Volta Regional Director of the Department of Gender, Daryl Ayariga, implored women business owners to explore the digital space to expand their horizons.
Research indicates that only 11.9% women in sub-Saharan Africa are into the digital space. And looking at our current rate of digitalization, I would therefore ask our women present here today not to limit their products to their localities, but also explore the digital space to improve their access to larger markets, and by doing so, increase their potentials for exports and increase their economic power.
The Executive Director of Maflix Tract Ghana Limited, Mrs. Gifty Kafi Kamasa, who was identified as the Women Icon for 2023, called for support for women investors.
Not only with coaching and advice, but also with investment, the money. Only 4% of women are investors. There is a huge gap to be filled. What we have to do now is to take the next leap by helping these women entrepreneurs succeed in the best of their abilities.
The 3-day exhibition is being held at the forecourt of the offices of the State Insurance Company, SIC in Ho. It would end on Saturday, 2nd September 2023. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ho.
And that's the end of the bulletin with me, Beverly Broom. I leave you with Blessed Sugar's expedition at the Kapama Game Reserve in South Africa. Have a good evening.
Sunrise in the Limpopo province of South Africa. In this area near the town of Hoedspruit, Tikani and her group of conservationists are taking us on a tour to discover what is left of the wild.
We're taking an early morning drive in a 16,000-hectare space called the Kapama Game Reserve. It's a top biodiversity spot hosting the big 5 species that are about going extinct. We're about finding out why this area is so important to conservation and to saving our planet.
A turn on the right brings an impala in sight. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, this medium-sized antelope found in eastern and southern Africa is on the red list of threatened species on the verge of going extinct. But Tikani and her eco-conscious team at the Kapama Game Reserve are fighting hard to conserve nature.
And we are Big 5 reserve, and mostly when we say Big 5, it's not 100% guarantee that each and every game drive you're going to see the Big 5, but we try by all means, guides and trackers, to show you what we have. We have different kind of animal, not only the Big 5, we have other general animal. You can find giraffes, you can find zebras, you can find other small animals. We have animals as little as the little 5, from the Big 5 to the little 5, and all different birds life.
The Big 5 species reserved here include this lioness, which has given birth to 2 cubs, a sign of hope for the future. But Tikani tells us that a major factor which could undermine their efforts at protecting these species include poaching.
To us, it's more important, and to all the tourists that come here, because we're still trying to save nature, and even our kids, the next generation, will still find this place still standing as long as we're doing our part in taking care of it. So if we keep doing what we're doing, especially when it comes to rhino, if the poaching still exists, might be a time, let's say 10 years to 20 years from now, that we'll see less of rhinos. But if we do our part and report poaching and things like that, the next generation will be able to know what is a rhino.
How bad?
There's also the challenge of climate change, which is adversely impacting wildlife.
Climate does change animal behavior. We see that at a certain time of the month, we find animals more in a certain area than in a certain area. Actually, now we are in our dry season. You will see other animals in certain area of the reserve, and then other animals in certain area of the reserve, depending what they eat.
In spite of adversity, management of the Kapama Game Reserve is making a solemn pledge to save the planet and to protect biodiversity. This is Sugan's report for Joy News, Limpopo, South Africa.